Hello humans. Today I wanted to talk about this guy right here. This is a Maxim brand folding knife that I recently picked up on a trip to Canadian Tire. And the reason I ended up picking this up is this was $11.07. And it's been a hot minute since I've taken a look at a ultra budget knife. So here we are. Integrated multi-tool, including knife, screwdriver, and bottle opener, because that's all it takes to qualify. You have a limited life, I'm assuming it's limited, but you have a lifetime warranty. We'll see what that means. You have 2 screwdrivers, a Phillips and a square, both number 2s. You have slotted screwdriver, I'm assuming that's the frame. That's gonna suck for ergonomics. Stainless steel blade. I don't actually think it doesn't tell us what type of blade, like what the blade steel is. That'll be fun to look up later. Durable aluminum handle, but durable compared to what? You've got a lanyard loop, you have a bit driver, which is actually nice. It's got a magnet in it, apparently. That could be useful. And a bottle opener built into the base. We'll see if that's worth half a crap. Extremely sharp blade. Handle and dispose of with care. Oh my god. Listen, you're buying this thing, but we need you to understand, when you inevitably throw this out in 10 minutes, do it carefully. It's sharp. You might hurt somebody. That's friggin' dumb. Always store it closed. Keep out of the reach of children. Yeah, whatever. Does it have a Proposition 65 warning? It does not. This is imported into Canada. Good. I don't like Proposition 65. Carries a no time limit warranty against defects of workmanship and materials. If found defective, this product will be replaced free of charge. This product is not guaranteed against wear or breakage due to misuse and or abuse. Blades carry a 1-year warranty against defects and materials, but are not guaranteed against wear, breakage, or misuse. So basically worthless, because if anything fails on this, it's going to be the knife. Although if it fails in the first year, I guess you're fine. It's in clamshell packaging, which is just a fucking stupid thing to exist in the first place, but let's cut this open. Bruh. La-da-da. Actually, I should probably just... Why is this plastic balling up? I hate this stuff so much. Alright, where's the lid? This is like actually genuinely tougher than usual. This is kind of weird. This is worse than usual, and I know the problem isn't that my blade is dull. Fucking. I know that the problem isn't that my blade is dull, because... Is my Canadian Tire receipt? It is. After taxes, I paid $12.36 for this. So I know the problem isn't just that my blade is dull, because it is still cutting. That did not cut. That maybe my blade is duller than it should be. Still, this plastic is definitely not playing nice with me. Nah. Worst part is, can't recycle this or anything. This just becomes landfill waste. Fucking awful. Alright, and we have this little protector cap thing. Wow, that's stiff. On the blade itself, which is super fun. He lied. Okay. Oh, I was right. Our flathead bit is way too thin to actually be useful, and extending out the front of the frame, which kind of sucks, because this would, I mean, it's not good looking, but it would be better looking without that. We have our 2 bits. You just push on the actual bit itself, and it pushes out just sort of enough for you to pull it out. Standard size 1/4 inch bit driver in the base of it. It says magnetic. I can visibly see a magnet in there. I'm not feeling any magnetic tug really. Oh, maybe a bit. Maybe just a bit. But they are just standard size 1/4 inch bits, so you can put whatever ones you want in there. Obviously full backspacer, which makes sense. I imagine the bottle opener probably works fine, but I will test that. We have a 1 position tip down pocket clip, and I'm assuming that's just paint. We'll probably be able to see that it's just paint in the next little bit. Just the X for maximum, super duper cool. We have actually a swedged section on this drop point blade. And for our out of the box edge, let's take a look. All right, that's actually not too bad. So there's a couple of spots that are definitely duller than the rest of it, but overall it's not absolutely horrible. Yeah, that needs a new edge. Oh well. Paper cut test. It is sharp. Don't know where that chipped. It's not. Ooh. There's lots of variation. Like there's already some, not quite chips, but like this sort of belly section right here is significantly less well refined than this initial section. So it's leaving some bumpiness, which is rather unfortunate. Now for just a pure puncture test. It's not too bad. It definitely doesn't push straight. Like it wants to drive itself in and down, and I'm assuming that's just because of the way, like you can see, a lot of the thicker section is towards the top, which is not making this a very nice puncturing experience. Yeah, I can't get it to puncture straight just because of the way it's set up, but it does have a tip, and the tip does seem to work fairly well. And then wow. Okay. It's a hollow grind. Let me find myself a straight edge and we can check. Actually doesn't look like a hollow grind. Yeah, that was a lot nicer because it didn't go all the way down, but when I'm doing like I don't know if it's just the shouldering is really bad, but there's a massive increase in resistance in that shouldering, like way worse than quite a few other knives that I've actually, that is worse than some hollow ground knives I've experienced, which just tells me that it's a very crisp edge there, which is leading to a lot of extra drag, which does make some level of sense. Am I sure that's not hollow ground? Maybe a pencil will give me a better result. Actually having a hard time. Yeah, that's definitely hollow ground. Yeah, quite a bit of resistance there, which is sub-excellent, but it did make both those cuts fairly well with no serious issue. And I mean, it is sharp out of the box, just not tremendously so. It's running on I want to say Teflon, but I'm assuming they're just like a nylon washer set. I actually can't tell if there's 2 in there. So there's one. There's something on the other side. It must be a set. They're just 2 differently sized ones. Handle, I mean, initial impressions, it's actually not too bad. And the lock bar access is really good. I imagine with gloves on, this would actually not be a particularly bad knife to manipulate with gloves on, which is kind of a good thing. And I mean, for $11, so far I'm kind of excited about it. Although, one more thing that I'm just noticing that I just want to double check. I don't think it's designed to have a little bit of recurve, but I'm pretty, yeah. There's some sharpening goofiness there. There's a little bit of recurve right there. Excuse me. Right there in the heel, which is not exactly an encouraging sign. But hey, I'm going to play with this guy for a little bit, and then I'm going to come back and give you my thoughts on it. Immediately, I don't like this drive, and I might end up just taking it out or folding it. But for $11 so far, I'm not unhappy. I'll be back in a minute. And we are back. So I've been playing with this guy for a little bit over a week now, and here's the thing with it. The knife entirely on its own is fine. Like, everything else removed, the knife parts of this knife are fine. My issue with this is everything they tried to do with that is not a knife. So I'm not entirely sure what the blade steel is. I couldn't find that anywhere. I'm not too worried about it. It's fairly soft. It went dull very quickly, and I resharpened it. It took the new edge without any difficulty whatsoever, which is nice, right? It sharpened up beautifully. I changed the edge angle, and it's been behaving fine. Nothing spectacular, but just kind of what you would expect, right? I did it very quickly with a belt grinder, so I nicked the thumb stud just a hair, but whatever. And like, just the knife part of this is fine. It works fine. It has an accessible shape. You can do your draw cuts with it. You can access the tip without any difficulty. It's not super, I mean, this part of the pocket clip right here where it's super tall is a little uncomfortable, but overall it's not too bad in the hand. My issue with this is everything they tried to do with it that is not the knife. These in the back, they're not too bad, but it's kind of dumb to have them there. They're in a weird spot. This upswept part ended up catching on things in my pocket, or when I would sit down, it would actually jab me in the side. So just knock this down, have it be the same as the other side, which, like, that's perfectly fine. There's no reason to have this, and it's not sized correctly to be used as any type of a flathead except for on really small things. And if you have a really small screw that takes a flathead, you're probably not having enough room to like jam this whole thing in there and twist, right? Screwdrivers are long and thin because the places we put bolts require long and thin access. This just doesn't fit very well. On the flip side, the bit driver works fine. I mean, the bits aren't great, but the bit driver itself works fine. But again, any situation where I'm going to need a bit driver, I have a dedicated bit driver nearer to me that is more comfortable to use. This isn't uncomfortable by any means, but it is not super duper comfortable to use. And having it on the butt end of the knife actually makes this knife less comfortable. Now, the one remaining tool that I have not actually tried is the bottle opener. So I'm going to give this a go right now. I've got a bottle of this Earps Original Sarsaparilla Soda. And works exactly as well as you would expect. Right? I mean, it's a bottle opener. It works fine. You use little grooves to hook onto the cap, and the whole thing opens with very little issue. Unless it just chipped the bottle, or is that... Oh no, that's just sugar. Yeah, so the bottle opener works fine. It's exactly what you'd expect, right? The magnet in the bit driver is, it works. It's functional, but it's not adding enough to the knife for it to make any sense. And the knife itself, strip away all of the parts of this that make it a multi-tool. Sell me this exact same product for $8 instead of 13 after taking out your 2 bits, your screw opener. Maybe you can leave that, just sink it down a little bit or change it a hair, or even just take it off. It doesn't matter. Absolutely grind this away. That is probably going to be the first thing I do with it. It's going to stay in my collection because everything kind of stays in my collection, but that's going immediately. It would be nice to get a little bit of a better action, but the action we have is fine. If you slow roll it, lockup is, hovering right around that. What is that, 70 odd percent? Oh no, right now it's lower. 1 second. Slow roll it hard. There we go. Now it's hovering around that 70%. If you give it a wrist flick, lockup gets a lot closer to 100%, which is, it's still locking up solid. I'm not getting any movement out of it, so that's fine. I didn't tighten the pivot at all, and I'm getting no blade play, which is pretty impressive. The coating, granted I didn't push the coating super hard by cutting into coarse or material that would really damage the coating, mostly just wood and odds and ends like that, but the coating held up, which I'm impressed by. You can see there are some places where the coating is starting to go, especially around here near the top, and mostly on the aluminum because the aluminum is quite a bit softer. But overall, it's fine. It's just everything they added to it made the situation worse instead of better, which is a little bit unfortunate. But you know what? For $13, it functions. It does what it says on the tin. The grind was a little wonky out of the box, but the material is soft enough that you could probably sharpen it with a freaking coffee can if you needed to. So all told, yeah. For $13, if you are in need of a knife and not a Canadian Tire, I absolutely believe that there are better options specifically, and I'm always going to rant and rave about this. The Buck 311 is a phenomenal option, and the Buck 190 is often on sale in and around this $13, $14 range as well. So either one of those two is a significantly better option. You also have, I really like the SOG Fielder, which again, I've seen for sale under $15. So I do think that there's competition for this thing that is better than it. But you know what? If you see this, if it's in the section that you're in, it will serve you fairly well. It cuts, it takes a new edge perfectly fine. The edge doesn't last very long, but it doesn't need to necessarily, right? And for $13, it does what it says on the tin, which is nice. Nothing's coming loose, nothing's going wrong with it. Overall, soft recommendation is what I'm going to say for that. Stay safe and have fun out there. Peace.